The uneasy calm between the United States and China has been shattered once again, this time by a powerful accusation straight from the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. In a dramatic public statement, Trump declared that China is violating the tariff truce that was supposed to ease one of the most intense trade conflicts in modern history. This revelation has sent shockwaves through international markets and ignited fears of a renewed trade war. But what exactly did China do or fail to do? Why is President Trump choosing this moment to go public with such a damning charge? And what does this mean for the fragile future of global trade? Before we dive into the intricate web of tariffs, deals, and diplomatic standoffs, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update on global politics, economics, and power moves that shape our world. Let's now go back to where this so-called truce actually began. Earlier this year, both economic giants, China and the United States, agreed to step back from the brink of a full-scale trade war. After months of mounting pressure, threats, and back-and-forth tariffs, a major breakthrough was reached during a high-level summit in Geneva. The agreement was ambitious, at least on paper. The United States would significantly scale back its tariffs on a wide range of Chinese imports, from a suffocating 145% all the way down to a more manageable 30%. In turn, China pledged to reduce its tariffs on American goods from a punishing 125% to just 10%. This mutual de-escalation was widely seen as a path toward healing one of the most volatile economic rivalries of the 21st century. For a moment, it seemed as though both sides were ready to move forward in a spirit of compromise. Businesses on both sides of the Pacific began cautiously celebrating. But behind the scenes, not all promises were being kept. While the tariffs on paper looked like a step forward, the practical implementation was far from smooth. That tension was only growing until it finally erupted into the open. That eruption came when President Trump took to his social media platform, Truth Social, to air his frustration. In a statement that left little room for interpretation, Trump declared that China is in grave economic danger and accused Beijing of totally violating the tariff truce. These were not words chosen lightly. They were a warning, a direct challenge, and a dramatic shift in tone from the earlier optimism that followed the Geneva Agreement. But what exactly is the president basing this accusation on? That remains unclear. In his post, Trump did not lay out concrete evidence or cite specific violations. There were no charts, no figures, just the weight of the presidency behind his words. Still, for those following trade relations closely, it wasn't hard to guess what he was referring to. And soon, top officials within his administration began to fill in the blanks. Shortly after Trump's bombshell, key figures within the administration stepped up to provide the substance behind the president's warning. Jamieson Greer, a senior trade advisor, explained that the core of the issue lies not in tariff numbers, but in what are called non-tariff barriers, more subtle, often more difficult to measure forms of economic resistance. According to Greer, while China did reduce some official tariffs, it continued to quietly block American businesses from operating freely in the Chinese market. These non-tariff barriers included blacklisting certain U.S. companies, particularly those tied to sensitive technology, and limiting exports of rare earth minerals critical to American manufacturing. These behind-the-scenes restrictions were never supposed to be part of the deal. By not removing them, China, in the administration's view, was not just slow-walking compliance, it was actively undermining the agreement. Greer emphasized that this wasn't just a bureaucratic hiccup, it was a serious breach. "We are very concerned," he said, "that China is not meeting the spirit or the letter of the deal." His words echoed those of President Trump, reinforcing the sense that Washington now sees China as having broken the truce, intentionally and strategically. So, how has China responded to this latest volley of accusations? The answer, for now, is silence. The Chinese government has issued no formal statement in response to President Trump's claims. During a press briefing in Beijing, the Foreign Ministry was asked directly about Trump's social media post and Greer's subsequent remarks. Their response was evasive. A spokesperson declined to comment, stating only that China remains committed to mutually respectful dialogue. This silence is telling. It could signal internal disagreement in Beijing over how to respond, or it could be a strategic decision to avoid further escalation. Either way, it leaves the world guessing. And in that vacuum of clarity, uncertainty and speculation continue to grow. With accusations flying and responses withheld, the broader implications are becoming increasingly serious. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has admitted publicly that trade talks with China are now a bit stalled. That's diplomatic code for, we're no longer making progress. The optimism that once surrounded the Geneva deal has faded fast. But it's not just about tariffs and trade meetings. The Trump administration is also doubling down in other areas. In a controversial move, it announced that visas for Chinese students studying in the United States would be revoked. This affects nearly 280,000 individuals, students who contribute both financially and culturally to American universities. The move has been described as a pressure tactic, aimed at hitting China's global influence where it hurts. Meanwhile, a U.S. federal court recently ruled that President Trump had exceeded his legal authority in implementing parts of his global tariff regime. Though that decision has been put on hold pending appeal, it adds yet another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. The legal framework of U.S. trade policy is now under scrutiny, just as the political and diplomatic tensions are boiling over. What began as a hopeful moment of economic cooperation between the world's two largest economies has once again spiraled into mistrust and confrontation. The Geneva Tariff Truce, once hailed as a diplomatic success, now hangs by a thread. President Trump's accusations, the concerns voiced by his trade advisors, China's silence, and the ripple effects across legal and educational systems. All of it points to a relationship that is rapidly deteriorating. So where does this leave us? Will China step up and clarify its position? Will the United States take further action? Could this be the opening chapter of an even more aggressive trade war? Let us know what you think. Is Trump right to call out China now? Or is this move more about politics than policy? Don't forget to like this video, share it with others interested in global affairs, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth updates on critical issues shaping our world today.